Good morning, everybody. I am so excited for latest in the Forgotten Figures of the Bible series, because if you haven't read this story, you're going to love it. This is the story of Balaam's donkey. Yes, Balaam's donkey. And it comes from Numbers chapter 22, verses 21 to 39. So I would invite you to pause now, turn in your Old Testament to Numbers 22, 21 to 39. Then come on back with me for this incredible story. Some people bring out the worst in us. Amen. Balaam wasn't really a good guy. But when he was hired by Balak, a big bad guy who was king of a place called Moab, and this guy Balak was scared of the Israelites, well, that brought out the worst in Balaam. Here's what happened. It was the end of the Exodus, as the Israelites are wandering around in the wilderness under the leadership of Moses, 40 years. And over that time period, they had their own ups and downs, good times and bad, but all in all, they were emerging from the wilderness stronger than ever. They've defeated a couple of kings along the way, solidifying their power and frightening some others that they think might be next. One such frightened king, who was not an Israelite and not particularly powerful, but very much wanted to keep ruling over his small kingdom, was this guy named Balak. The Israelites were nearby, not far from his kingdom, and he didn't want a chance battling them. So Balak decides to try something unconventional. He tries to hire this well-known prophet named Balaam to curse the Israelites. Well, Balaam thinks about it, and Balaam prays about it, and God tells Balaam, don't do it. So Balaam turns down the king. The king, like most kings, does not like being told no. So Balak sends gifts and high-ranking officials and well-known priests. He puts on the full court press on Balaam to try and convince him to take this job. And Balaam is eventually persuaded by this recruitment effort, and he decides to go and do the job. Now, you might say, but wait a minute, I thought God told you that you weren't supposed to go, Balaam. Didn't you pray about it and you turned it down? What changed? Well, you would be correct. That's exactly what happened. He prayed about it. God told him don't go, so he said, I'm not going. Well, it seems Balaam's faithfulness had a price. He was offered riches, he was offered glory, and he changed his mind, changed his tune. Now, while God is certainly gracious, God is also just. And God was serious when telling Balaam, don't do it. So when Balaam changes his mind and goes to do it, God sends an angel to stop him. And I know, how we think of angels. We think of halos and, good and sweet and innocent beings. But this angel that God sends to stop Balaam was sent ready for battle, sword and all. So Balaam saddles his donkey. He makes his way down the road with Balak's princes and priests on the way to meet his new boss, get started on his new job. And here's this angel in the road, standing between Balaam and his donkey and the place that they're going. Now, wanting to protect his master, the donkey turns off the road into a field. The donkey can see the angel, so he turns off the road into a field. Balaam doesn't see the angel, can't see the angel. Standing in the road right there in front of him, but he's blind to it, can't see it. Doesn't know what in the world his stubborn donkey is doing, going off the road into a field. So Balaam beats him with his fist, tells him to get back on the road. The angel of the Lord is now drawing nearer to them. Gets back on the road. Angel's getting closer. Angel's standing in a narrow path at this point with walls on both sides. Still wanting to protect his master, Balaam's donkey tries to squeeze by on the side, just go right up against the wall between the angel and the wall. Well, it hurts Balaam's foot, and Balaam beats him once again. The angel has had enough of these attempts and corners Balaam on his donkey. Now, Balaam's donkey, ever faithful, does the only thing that's left to do to protect his master. He lays down. He stops walking. He won't get any closer to the angel, so that Balaam will go no further and not be endangered. But Balaam still doesn't see the angel. The donkey's the only one who sees it. And so Balaam beats the donkey a third time. And he says angrily to his donkey, "You've made a fool out of me. If I had a sword, I would kill you right now." And that's when the unthinkable thing happens. The donkey turns around to Balaam and speaks, "Am I not your own donkey, which you have always ridden to this very day? Have I ever been in the habit of doing something like this to you?" And that's when Balaam's eyes are opened. He sees the angel. He realizes that the donkey had saved him, and the donkey's been trying to save him this whole time, and he begs forgiveness. He begs his donkey for forgiveness. He begs the angel for forgiveness for going to work for Balaam in the first place, or for Balak in the first place when he told him not to, and he said he wouldn't. And he apologizes again profusely to the donkey for beating him when he only was trying to protect him. And so after a lot of back and forth, God tells Balaam to go on. God says, "All right, you've got all this set up at this point. I told you not to go. You said you wouldn't go. Now here you are going. Let's make a way. Let's make a way out of this. I've got a plan. You go on. You go on to Balak. Go to the Israelites just like he wants you to. But only say what I tell you to say." And when the time comes, Balaam does. He listens. He goes on the journey. He goes to Balak. And when the time comes, when he's before the Israelites, and Balak wants him to curse them, Balaam instead blesses the Israelites. It foils Balak's big bad plan. Now, this is yet another example of why the Bible is the most interesting book you'll ever read. Before today, did you know that there was a Bible story about a talking donkey? It is a wonderful, wonderful story. I love the devotion, the tenacity, the creativity, the stubbornness of Balaam's donkey. He will not give up on his mission, no matter how rotten his master is. It reminds us all, if we'll put ourselves in Balaam and the donkey's shoes, of the responsibility that we have to those who are by our side each and every day. Because sometimes we too take them for granted. Our kids, our spouses, our family, our friends, they watch every move we make. They'll stop at nothing to defend us, and it's our responsibility to be good to them and to do the same for them. But perhaps even more striking in this story than the devotion, tenacity, creativity, and stubbornness of the donkey is the devotion, tenacity, creativity, and stubbornness of God. God uses every circumstance in this story for good. God uses Balak's bad intentions for the Israelites for good. God uses Balaam's bad behavior toward the donkey for his own good. God turns every frustration and every mistake and every bad break into an opportunity to turn it all around. So the next time you're frustrated, when things aren't quite going your way, think of Balaam's donkey. The next time you can't seem to catch a break, think of Balaam's donkey. The next time you think someone's out to get you, think of Balaam's donkey. Because God is always making a way out of no way. Amen.